All right, so as you can probably tell, my Model Y has a massive dent in the back. I'm not even sure if you can classify that as a dent, but that's what we'll call it for the sake of this video. So I'm sure everybody wants to know who clicked on this video, what happened, how did I get into an accident. It's pretty boring. I was just sitting at a red light, minding my business, going to work, and I got rear-ended. Now, the person that hit me claimed that their brakes failed, but I kind of find that hard to believe because when I'm looking back at the video of, from the rear camera, you can see that his posture doesn't change, right? Like, he doesn't, go to grab the wheel with two hands. He doesn't try to swerve. He just completely smokes me from behind with his car, probably doing about 45 miles an hour. That was the maximum speed limit on the road. And there was actually a car in front of me. I'm kind of surprised that my car didn't go any further forwards to then make me rear end that person. It almost seems like my car, the Model Y, put on the brakes though, so I wouldn't kind of cause a further accident in front of me, which kind of is pretty cool. Now, this car is actually still fully drivable and really fully functional. There is a couple of issues. Obviously, there's a massive dent in the back, but also the trunk won't open or close. Because of that, it thinks that the trunk is always open, so the car doesn't actually lock, and also autopilot doesn't work because it thinks the trunk is open, and autopilot won't work if there's any doors open. But also, even if I was able to use autopilot, I probably wouldn't trust it, and I'd probably get an error anyway because that back camera is, basically completely thrown off skew. Now, in terms of the actual damage, you'll notice that the trunk is basically completely gone. Kind of the bottom fender and the bottom bumper have kind of taken the brunt of the impact. And then if you look actually inside of the trunk, which I can't really show you, but there's actually a lot of damage to the undercarriage as well. Like, kind of when you lift up that top piece to store things underneath, that is just completely ruined as well. The biggest issue that I see is that the tow hitch has been lodged into my vehicle 2 feet, right? Which obviously poses a huge issue. So I guess that begs the question, is this car totaled? Actually, I don't know yet. I'm on the way to the auto body shop, and that's why I wanted to sit down and make this video, because after I drop this car off, if it's kind of, seen as a total, as a complete loss, I'm probably never going to see it again. And that brings me to the sappy part of this video, because I've got so many memories inside of this car. I've done so many awesome things. I've traveled across the entire United States, all the way up to Maine, all the way over to Arizona, all the way down to Florida, and everywhere in between, even all the way up to Canada. I've been everywhere inside of this car. But regardless, there's been a lot of ground covered inside of this vehicle. Now, if they do end up considering this vehicle to be a total loss, if they do total the vehicle, I wonder what I'd get for it, right? So just kind of getting to some numbers, I still owe $39,000 on this vehicle, and I don't want to pay it off any sooner than I have to because I bought it in 2021 when the interest rates were super low. I've got a 2.49% rate. To me, that's free money. So again, I don't want to try and pay this vehicle off any quicker than I have to, but I wonder what they'd give me, right? I've got a Tesla Model Y Performance with full self-driving. I don't even know what these go for new because they've done so many price adjustments. I'll put what a new version of my specific car would be here on the screen after I do a build after the fact. But yeah, I wonder what they'd give me. I've got 130,000 miles on this car in 2 years. It has treated me so well. It's, gone to hell and back. I actually just got a brand new battery in it too. So I've only got about 20 to 15,000 miles on the battery inside of this car. But what is it worth? What are they going to give me, right? So there's so much that I can talk about regarding the Model Y, what I think about it. It's been such a workhorse. In fact, right now, even in its current state, it's driving perfectly fine, but we are expecting some rain, so I want to get this inside. So let's go drop this off at the body shop, and I'll update you once I know a little bit more. All right, so the final verdict was probably ruined by the title of the video, but my car is totaled. My Model Y is no more. I named it Jarvis after the AI in Iron Man. It was Tony Stark's AI, and then it was actually his dad's driver, so I kind of thought it was perfect, right? The car drives itself, so I would name it Jarvis. But yeah, so that car is no more. It has been totaled. I figured I'd walk through the numbers here with you because it's kind of comical to see, what the different numbers were that were thrown around in terms of what my car was worth, in terms of what the insurance company said my car was worth, in terms of what the other insurance company said that the car would be to repair it. So there's all these numbers. I'll kind of walk you through here. Also, dealing with their insurance companies is just been such a nightmare. The person that hit me actually doesn't have enough coverage to fully cover the cost of my vehicle, so I needed to get my insurance company involved. It's been a whole thing. But look, so the initial estimate to fix the repairs, this was just done by photos. I sent photos in on the application, and then they gave me an estimate without even looking at the car in person. They said that it would be $4,500 to get it fixed, $4,599.80 to be exact. And look, I'm no car
repair person. I don't know how these cars are put together, but I knew that it was more than $4,000 worth of damage done to my vehicle. I didn't think it would be totaled. I mean, the car is still operating perfectly, but $4,000 definitely was not going to cover the repair bill. So that was done off of pictures. It was done through Geico. I knew that that wasn't going to be right. So I brought it to the body shop to get an actual estimate done from people that'll actually look at the vehicle. And they said that it would be $22,653.82 to fix the car. And they gave me a little disclaimer saying that they were just kind of looking at it at face value. And once they actually tore the car apart to look underneath, there'd probably be more money's worth of damages, I'm guessing, to the frame of the car. Remember how I mentioned that the tow hitch was like pushed into the vehicle that's connected to the frame, so I figured the frame would have been bent. So from there, my insurance company just ended up totaling it, right? I had a loan through US Bank. Again, as I mentioned, great loan, 2.49% interest rate. Such a shame to have to get rid of it so early. My payoff amount was $36,000 on the vehicle, roughly. And the bank or their adjuster appraised it at $34,557. So that means that I was like $1,500 underwater, which honestly, for the amount of miles I put on my car, is not that bad. 130,000 miles on the vehicle, and also Tesla's prices really have dropped since I initially purchased my Model Y 2 years ago. We've seen a lot of price reductions. So when you take that into consideration, and when you take into consideration I put at just ungodly amount of miles on the vehicle, I was okay with that, right? But I thought to myself, I'm like, that still seems a little bit low. Let me give them a call and let me make sure that they added full self-driving, because I bought full self-driving after the fact. It wasn't included with my vehicle. I ended up buying it after the fact, right? Using a credit card just so that I could get the points, and I didn't have to rope it into my financing of the vehicle. And after adding that, it actually brought the total of the vehicle up to $40,907, which was a $6,350 increase, which means that I actually walked away receiving a check. So that's awesome. It almost felt like buying full self-driving after the fact was like purchasing gap insurance, but I actually was able to make use of the thing that I bought rather than just throwing my money away and giving it to insurance. So that was really awesome that I was actually able to walk away with money. And now it's great knowing that when I go and purchase my car, I'm going to be able to take advantage of the federal tax credit. When I bought my Model Y, the federal tax credit was not in effect. So now I get to take advantage of that when I go and buy my next car. So I feel like at the end of the day, I'm kind of winning in this regard. Now, a little fun fact, my car actually went up for auction. It was sold. I've got a link. I'll leave that link in the description if you want to actually go and check out my vehicle for sale up on that auction website. It initially started at like $3,000. That's what the bidding was at, which is funny. And I kept tracking it throughout like the 36 hours that the bidding was going on. And it ended up selling for $16,700. And like, that seems very cheap, but also seems very expensive at the same time. Like, why would you buy a car that has potentially $30,000 worth of damage, $30,000 worth of work that needs to be done? But, you know, when I think about it in the back of my head, right, because I was the owner of that vehicle, it had like a brand new battery, it had full self-driving, right? I mean, all of these things add up to be very expensive. So I think that the person that bought this got a very good deal despite all the miles on that car, because it was still running great. I wish I actually bid on the car to try to get it back. But nonetheless, the car's totaled. It's now time to go and get a new car. I'm between the Model Y and the Model X. I'm still kind of deciding between those two vehicles at the time right now, but that's my story. My total Model Y, unfortunately, is no more. And again, with the damage, I'm surprised it was totaled. But nonetheless, now it's time to move on. Now it's time to move on to the next one. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.